was, I know, I'm excited about my baby too. I really am. Really, really so. Can't wait, man. Can't wait. Red Green was the dog that we had when we were little. Hank was probably 5 when we got him, and so I was like 7 or 8. And Red Green, we got him for Christmas. That's why it was called Red Green. And he was kind of red because he was a miniature dachshund. But Red Green, Christmas. And we'd already had a snake, a garter snake called Blue Green, and it just seemed like the next logical decision. And Red Green was this little miniature dachshund. He weighed like 7.5 pounds, and he was like the worst dog in the world. And I can love a bad dog. Like Willie barks a lot, and he runs away, and he's very skittish and hissy and everything. But Red Green was like an aggressively horrible dog. Like, I remember one time Hank and my parents went to England, and for some reason I didn't go. I was working at Steak and Shake, and I think like I needed to like finish my summer at Steak and Shake to have spending money for college or something. So I was probably 18. I think it was my freshman year of college. And my mom and dad and Hank went to England, and for like 3 or 4 days, and I was stuck in Orlando working at Steak and Shake, working the graveyard shift at Steak and Shake. Kaylee last night worked the graveyard shift of Project for Awesome, as did many of you. And so me and Red Green were alone together in the house. And Red Green, if I did not get up at 5:30 in the morning on my off days and walk Red Green, he would jump up onto the bed. He would wake me up by pawing at my face. Then he would jump back down onto the carpet of my bedroom, and he would stare at me, and he would pee. And then on the days that weren't my off days, when I had to work from midnight to 8 a.m., which is the time when dogs are usually asleep and able to like hold their bladders, I would come home to like, not like one accident, but like 72 separate accidents scattered about the house. And it wasn't that Red Green was incontinent. He knew that it pissed us off when he peed, and so he would pee because he liked to make us mad. So that's not the story though. The story is this. When I was about 12 years old, I had an 8-bit Nintendo, one of the original Nintendos. You know what I'm talking about? You probably don't. You're like, oh, original Nintendo. Yes, you mean the Wii. No, before there was a Wii, there was a Super Nintendo, and before there was that, there was the original Nintendo, which was just like a gray box, and it had this little door that flipped open, and then you put the game cartridge inside. You probably do know because of James the Nintendo nerd. And then you would, or Angry Video Game nerd, and then you'd put the video game cartridge in, and then you'd press down, and then you'd close that little flap at the top, and then you'd hit power and you'd play your game. Okay. So, sometimes, because I'm more of a winger than a planner, as I just learned taking that baby test, I would play my game, and then I would take it out. Megarifics 32, just like me. That's not an old Nerd Fighter. I would say that is a early, still a young. What is? If you're not middle aged, I guess you're early aged. So yeah, an early age Nerd Fighter. All right, so I would take my game out at the end of my playing Blades of Glory or whatever. I would take my game out, and sometimes I would leave the little gray flap open, right? And then I put my game away, and I would go to bed because I played from 6 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night, breaking briefly for lunch. You have to understand that, like, when video games, like when the Nintendo first arrived in homes, everyone in the world was like, I don't want to ever do anything other than this. It was so much cooler and more exciting than anything that had ever happened to any of us. So anyway, I left the little flap open. Red Green. My brother was at summer camp. Hank was at summer camp. My parents are not really practical jokers. They're funny people, but they're not practical joke people. and the house was locked. And I loved my Nintendo more than I loved anything, and then I loved anything in the whole world at that point. Like, maybe more than I loved my family. I loved my Nintendo, and I would never do anything to harm it. I go to bed one night with the flap up. I wake up the next morning. The very first thing that I do before I brush my teeth is I run into the living room and I grab Blades of Glory or Double Dribble or whatever it was, and I pull it out of its black Nintendo case, and I go to put it, and Red Green has pooped inside my Nintendo. I don't mean that he pooped next to the Nintendo or that he pooped on top of the Nintendo. He pooped inside the game slot of the Nintendo. There was poop in there. Red-green poop. Because he knew I loved it. And so he sidled up to it and turned his bottom around and angled it so that he could, projectile poop inside the Nintendo. Now, the other possibilities, what are the other possibilities, right? The other possibilities are, somebody says red-green FTL. Do you mean red-green French the llama? Sorry, that's a joke from 2 days ago. I've been up for a while. The other possibilities are that my parents put the red-green poop inside the Nintendo, which they have consistently denied, and they have also convincingly said, why would we put poop inside your Nintendo? We knew you loved it, and it shut you up and distracted from bothering us. My brother was at summer camp. There's no way he could have done it. Would have, God knows, crazy bastard. But the only person who could have done it is me, and I would never do it. I love my Nintendo. The doors were locked. Either someone broke into my house, stole nothing, took red-green poop from somewhere else in the house, which God knows there was plenty of, and put it inside the Nintendo, or red-green actually, literally pooped inside my Nintendo. This is a true story. This is a true story. That is the kind of dog that Red Green was. Red Green was such a bad dog. I can't get over how bad a dog he was. How bad was it? Red Green was such a bad dog that, oh my gosh. We haven't done Shark Eye Jones's video, guys. How did we forget that?